Oh man, what is going on, everybody? Brad with influencerparenting.com and Parenting with the Zudes on YouTube. Rachel Hollis and her husband Dave bite the dust. They are getting divorced. The shocker of the century, right? Anybody shocked? No? Bueller? No? Oh, that's right. No one's shocked. Man, this is really frustrating stuff, and we're going to go through that right here on the podcast. And if you're listening to the podcast, welcome back. Really appreciate it. But we are also live on our YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search the Zudes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, welcome to the show. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It actually would mean the world to us. So, author Rachel Hollis, you know, that #1 best-selling book for like the last 2 years and everything women and self-help and Christianity, Girl Wash Your Face. That author, her and her husband are getting a divorce. And it's really sad, first of all. We don't know all the details and all the disclaimers and all that kind of stuff. So, we'll throw that in there right off the start. But it's really too bad because it especially means something more, not only when you're in the public eye, but when you're in the public eye and you essentially preach against the very same big life-altering decisions that you then decide to take. It would be like, us as #1 best-selling parenting authors and 8 children of our own. It would be like us being like, yeah, we don't want to be parents anymore, so we put all of our kids up for adoption. Oh, wait, Micah Stauffer already did that with one of her children, which is in another video if you haven't seen that YouTuber mom that did that. But it really would be like us being parenting consultants and then screwing up our kids or putting them up for it goes again. It'd be like Dave Ramsey, right? Just completely going broke or something and not taking his own advice. So she had Girl Wash Your Face, #1 bestseller. Then she had Girl Stop Apologizing that came out in March of 19, hit some #1 best sellers for a while. And her husband Dave even wrote a book, Get Out of Your Own Way. Interesting title, by the way. But I've been doing a little bit of research, and the thing I want to talk about is not necessarily specific to Rachel Hollis, but they have 4 kids. They're 13, 11, 7, and 3 or 4, something like that. And I love it when parents who divorce make public statements about how much they care about their children, how much they want to focus on their children, how they want to do, quote unquote, what's best for their children, and yet they divorce. I mean, it's just laughable. Those are all good and great intentions, right? But if you actually want to do what's best for your children, you would stay together, right? I mean, you have to remember, think of this through the child's eyes, okay? Divorce obviously is rampant these days, even for professing Christians and professing believers. They just toss, what the Bible says about divorce out the window. And kids' whole world is the stability of mom and dad. And when that's shattered, there becomes this unshatterable effect, okay, for a forever changed effect in the minds of their children. Now, again, in her Twitter statement, or I think it was her Instagram post. Yeah, it was her Instagram post. She makes the statements about, we're still best friends and we're going to put all this time and effort into co-parenting and being the best co-parents and everything that we can and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a lie. It's just not possible to have your children's best interest in mind and divorce your spouse. There, I'll say it. I'm not negating that things happen between mom and dad, whatever, but it's not what's best ever for your children. And I think that most divorced people, at the end of the day, maybe even after some time goes by or they forget about the crazy wrong things their spouse did or how they've been harmed or whatever, when you can get past that, I don't think many, if any, divorced people would be like, yeah, that actually really was best for our child. Like you can't intellectually get to the place where that is the case. So I feel terrible for them. But most importantly, it really hurts when, like, you can go on YouTube here and like they have marriage tip videos all about marriage kind of stuff, how they keep their marriage so passionate and so strong. And it's a 2-year-old video. It's a 13-minute video. You could watch it. Maybe I'll link it below. But it's like, oh, well, we go out on date nights and we keep intimacy strong and we just do all this kind of stuff. And it's just really hard watching those things, knowing that most things that you see on social media, on podcasts, on YouTube is, I don't want to say a lie, but it's just not reality. And a lot of people want to go on and present perfect lives and perfect families and perfect marriages. And then literally out of nowhere, they announce a divorce, or other people announce divorce. And I don't know. Something must happen. I have this theory that if you become rich or if you become famous, like big time, humongous famous, that it makes a change in you that is irrecoverable. And I think you mentally level up so much, like in your mind, like your mind opens to such bigger and better opportunities, and it allows you to think things that like were never, ever possible. And I think that begins to include who your spouse is, right? Because think of this, every part of your lifestyle, if you became like a, multi-mega millionaire, over a short period of time, which Rachel kind of did. She posted a picture in 2015 of her in a bikini with her, saggy skin, from pregnancies hanging out, which is fine. And then that kind of propelled her into this spotlight and then ultimately into her fame. But when you level up your mindset and you level up what's possible, it's very difficult to isolate the way you feel about your spouse inside of a world where the way you're looking and feeling about everything else dramatically improves, changes, and upgrades. And you begin to get this tailored experience where like you begin to get everything you want. You begin to be the most important person in any room that you walk in. And you begin to have to settle less and less and less for anything in life. Everything's just teed up the way you want it. You have money to have your preferences. You can drive the car you want, live where you want to go, eat what you want to eat, do what you want to do. And my theory is that because a marriage is about the last thing that really is kind of the same old again, I'm making general sweeping statements here, for a lot of people that happens to, it becomes then this only place where it's like you have to consider others and maybe sometimes do things you don't want to do. And then it becomes this point of contention. And then your mind creeps in of like, well, I can level up my spouse too. I leveled up my car and my house and my vacations and the things that I eat. And why can't I do that with my spouse too? And let's just stay best friends. And then let's get on social media and then pretend like it's some big noble thing that we are getting a divorce and we're going to gloat about, how we love our children so much and all this kind of stuff. And it's really, really, really tragic. And especially it gets amplified then when you're the one out giving marriage advice, life advice, which is funny because if you go back and you watch some of Rachel Hollis's videos, you read some of her things, I'm all about self-improvement, but it seems to have a lot of self-focus inside of the self-improvement. And it's interesting. You can watch her marriage video on YouTube and it's got a lot of self-focused undertones. And a marriage is all about others focus, right? It's about dying to yourself. It's about considering others better than yourself, right? That's what God would have us do is put forth effort to consider others better than ourselves. Look, and when we go out on Friday night, it's not, hey, me fighting for where I want to go out to eat, right? I mean, this Friday night or last night, last night, look, Greta's just had a new baby. Greta and I just had a new baby, a few weeks ago. She doesn't get out of the house much, the whole quarantine thing. And like the thought in my mind doesn't even cross where I want to go. I said, Greta, where would you like to go? You never get out. You haven't been out lately. Like, I'm not even given options because I'm just, you pick and I'm going to love it. And it's true. And I meant that because I got more joy out of seeing her go where she wanted to go than I did the food that was put in my mouth. And it's those little things that you can begin to test yourself and go, hey, where do I find my joy? Is my joy in my spouse how they fulfill me? Or is my joy in my spouse how I can fulfill them? And that's the challenge. And especially if you're world famous, especially in the Christian world, quote unquote, right? And in the big time Christian world, Christian American church, you're in the spotlight and you go out and say one thing and do another. And it's really difficult. And it impacts millions of lives. It literally millions of people know who she is, follow her, and are going to be affected somehow, one way or the other, from her thinking. So Rachel, Dave Hollis, they are getting divorced. They are divorced, married for 18 years and called it quits. And it's really sad. It's really sad. So anyways, if you want to focus on your parenting, focus on your marriage, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the podcast. These are the things that we talk about, that we speak against inside of our teachings, inside of our programs, because we actually want to focus on the marriage. Rachel Hollis in this video suggests, oh, you got to go on date night and do all these things. And that's some of the same advice that we give as well, which is ironic, but we actually want to do that for the reasons that we want to consider and love our spouse and submit ourselves to our spouses for their well-being and consider others better, not just so we can be selfish inside of those things, because you can teach and you can say things like, hey, go on date night, but if those have selfish motives, they're really, really detrimental to what's going on. Just like getting a divorce with children is, and then proclaiming that, oh, but how much you love your children. It just is so revealing and so telling. So if you're considering divorce, man, reach out to us. We don't want that for you. And you obviously want to safeguard your marriage and make sure that you're doing it right. Make sure that you're doing things right. So again, subscribe to the channel, hit the podcast. We are here to help and want to make you the strongest influence in the life of your child, because the strongest influence in the life of your child wins. And that starts with the mommy-daddy relationship of being on the same page, working together, being as one, understanding what your priorities are, planning things in time of non-conflict, actually going on date nights, spending time investing in each other, going on quarterly overnights. And although not ever done perfectly, these are the things that we strive for so that we can safeguard against crazy things like this. And I feel terrible for the kids and the whole Hollis family. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.